Okay, so we'll get to the 2015 paper, 2014 paper. If you all wondered, we skipped it because there was no unit number 10 question. We'll get into 2015 question number 4. I feel a question like this is one of the easiest questions to work on. How has exports increased? I'll come to it in a future. Right. So they're asking you, they've given you a table. They're asking you for balance of trade. They're asking you for balance of goods and services, balance on the primary account, secondary income account. They're asking you for the balance. 1 mark, 1 mark, 1 mark, and they have given. Always remember, Lamai, whatever that is shown as credit is the inflow of money. This is you getting money. The debit is the outflow. Now, for example, just think when they say merchandise goods, this 800 is your exports. Now, what is the double entry? Think of the double entry. When Sri Lanka exports goods, what happens? Financial account, currency and deposit debit, current account, trade account, or the merchandise goods account, credit. So whatever that is on the credit side here is the money that we have got. It's the export of. The debit is the money that we paid. So always have that in mind. So whenever you're finding the balances, it will be 80 minus 1200. So we have received 800 from our merchandise goods. We have paid 1200 to import merchandise goods. So we have a trade deficit of a 400. Always credit minus the debit, not the other way around. So this is not exports, Lamai. So they have said merchandise goods, no. So this is the export of merchandise goods. This is the import of merchandise goods. Okay. Now, for example, if you take dividends here, this is the dividends received, 10. This is 70 is the dividends paid. So credit is what we have received, debit is what we have paid. Okay, right. What are they asking us? First thing that they're asking us is for our balance of trade. So how do you find balance of trade, Lamai? Balance of trade is the difference between your visible imports and exports, merchandise good. Is there anything else? Balance of trade. Is it only visible this thing? There is also, Lamai, non-monetary gold. Here, non-monetary gold also is a part of your balance of trade. Go and check your note, it's there. What is non-monetary gold? Non-monetary. Now, what is monetary gold? Monetary gold is the gold that central bank keeps as reserves. Those gold chunks, that's monetary gold. We are not talking about that. Non-monetary gold is like the chains, rings, bracelets, whatever that, like the jewelry that you all wear. That's what you call non-monetary gold. That is also like a good, no? That's why we put it in the balance of trade. So then, how do you find your balance of trade? You have your merchandise goods, that is 800 minus 1200 plus your non-monetary gold. I don't have space, I'm writing short forms. That is 5 minus 55. So how much do we get, Lavan? 800 minus this thing is minus 400. 5 minus 55 is a minus 50. So you get minus 450. That is your balance of trade. Then balance of goods and services. So goods and services, balance of trade and the service. So first, before we get there, we'll find the service balance before getting the goods part. So services, what and what do we have here? Financial services, air transport, sea transport, travel, telecommunication. Those are services, no? Financial services, air transport, sea transport, travel, and telecommunication. So you have to get this thing, Lamai. Financial services is how much? 25 minus 30 plus air transport 100 minus 60 plus sea transport 180 minus 150 plus travel, this is tourism most likely, 140 minus 100. Then telecommunication 75 minus so if you get this, you get your service account balance. How much is that? 25 minus 30 minus 5. 100 minus 60 is a plus 40. 180 minus 150 is a plus 30. 140 minus 100 is a plus 40. 75 minus 30 is a plus 40. So how much do we get then? Our service account 80, 125, 155, 150, 160. Is it 160, 150? Check this thing. If I made a mistake, you can do the numbers. I get 150. Just check the answer. Have I missed any thing? Non-monetary goal, worker remittances, government transfer dividends. Does your past pay book also say 150? Yes. 2015 question. Sorry, 2015 question number 4 part B. Yeah. Sorry, 150 just your service account. You have to mention the goods. Sorry. Okay, there is that part. So in addition to this, they're asking for the goods and service. No? So how much is your goods account balance? That's a minus 450. So then goods and services minus 450 goods plus 300, sorry, plus 150 for your services. So therefore you get how much? A deficit of 300 in your goods and services. This has to be your answer for part B. Is that okay? Okay. Now, then balance of your primary income account. So what do you have in your primary income account? Rent, wages, interest, profit, dividends. So we'll see what and what is there here. Here, compensation of employee. This is wages. Dividends. Government transfers, no. Interest. Worker remittances, no. Secondary income, travel, no. Yeah, that's all. So primary income, compensation of employees, that is 5 minus 10. Then dividends will be how much? 10 minus 70. Then interest income will be a 0 minus a 35. So you get this. 5 minus 10 minus 5, 10 minus 70 minus 60, 0 minus 35 minus 35. First we get minus 100, deficit of 100, primary income. Yeah, that's primary income. Then part D, balance of your secondary income account. The secondary income account can have these government transfers. Also, it can have worker remittances. Anything else? No, that's it. So government transfers 15 minus 0, worker remittances 285 minus 50. How much is that? 50 plus 15 plus 235. 250 of a surplus is in your secondary income account. I feel it's a very easy question. It looks like a very tough question, but just to do the numbers and get an answer. Easy 4 marks too. Yet you have to show the working and then do the question and get your answer. Okay. Yeah. Then we'll go into our next one. Question 5. Under a floating exchange rate system, explain how the following domestic factors can affect the exchange rate. 1. An increase in the real GDP. How does this work, Lama? We have learned this before. When there is a increase in the real GDP, what happens? Increase in the real GDP means now people have more income with them. So this will lead to what, Lamai? This will lead to imports increasing. An increase in the real GDP will increase the country's imports. We will import more and more now because we have a lot of money with us. So when we import more and more, what happens? There will be a increase in the supply of, increase in the supply of your domestic currency. Your domestic currency will be supplied, and the demand for the foreign currency, demand for the foreign currency will rise. So when this happens, what happens, Laman? When you're supplying more and more of your domestic currency and demanding the foreign currency, what happens to your exchange rate? Your exchange rate starts to depreciate. That is what they are asking. They are asking what will happen to the exchange rate. So you should say, look here, if there is an increase in the real GDP, then a country would tend to import more and more goods. As a result of importing more and more goods, domestic currency, the supply of domestic currency would increase. On the other hand, the demand for the foreign currency would increase. As a result of this, what happens? The exchange rate of that country would tend to depreciate. Okay, something like that. Then part B, increase in inflation. No, don't talk about inflation due to increase in PLC. No, not needed to talk in part A. Part B, a decrease in inflation. Sorry. So what happens when there is a decrease in inflation level? What happens to your exports when there is a decrease in inflation? There are two sides. You can even talk about the import. When there is decrease in inflation level, your exports become cheap, no? Exports become cheap. So then your exports will increase. On the same side, okay, on the same side, when your country inflation comes down, what will you do? Will you buy goods from the foreign country? No. You will also buy goods from your country because your country inflation is down. So therefore, even imports tend to come down. That's the other side of it. On one side, your exports will increase. On the other side, since your country inflation is low, you might not import. You will buy from your country itself. Imports come down. So what happens here, Naman? When your exports increase, demand for the domestic currency increases. Demand for the domestic currency increases. And when imports are coming down means the supply of domestic currency is coming down. You're not giving away your money. Supply of currency has come down. There are more and more of your money is being demanded because they have to pay you. What happens to your exchange rate then? Your exchange rate appreciates or depreciates. Your exchange rate will tend to appreciate. So more money is coming in due to exports, less money is going out. So exchange rate appreciates. If central bank wants to strengthen the currency, if they want to appreciate the currency, what they will do is they will artificially sell dollars. They will use their reserves. They will supply the dollar and demand the rupee. That's what they will do. So that's how Cabral and all were keeping the exchange rate at 200. They were utilizing the reserves, supplying the dollars, giving away the dollar and demanding the rupee. That's how they kept it at a high level. Okay. Right. So that's number 5. What an increase in real GDP mean that domestic producers tend to export that? No, that's not how you think. I guess this is the MCQ also. Remember we've talked about when the real GDP increases, we say imports increase. Remember our imports is, let's say, 100 plus 0.2y. In our syllabus, we say imports are autonomous, but in reality, imports are income induced. Just think, when your income increases, what will you do? You will buy a car now. You will tend to buy laptops. You'll buy a better phone. So all of that is coming from where? From imported goods, no? So when your country's real income increase, that means people's also income will go up, no? As a result, what happens? More and more will be imported. Okay. Exports we say are autonomous. Draw graph for A. So graph for A you can show it this way. So you can, if let's say if you're drawing the you can either show direct quotation or indirect quotation. If I'm showing the direct quotation graph, supply of dollars, demand for dollars, these are very basics. Supply of demand for the foreign currency is increasing. So even the demand, let's say currently our exchange rate is 300. So if the demand for the foreign currency increased, so now it will be 320. That's what we have. Right, 2015